Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Cabinet on Wednesday, the 27th of May. In accordance with the 2020 coronavirus regulations, this meeting is being held virtually to facilitate attendance and enable the consideration of important matters during the current COVID-19 situation. The meeting will therefore operate differently in that members of the Cabinet joining in remotely are still able to contribute and vote on any matter. I would ask all attendees tuning in to mute their microphones, please, unless they've been invited to speak. If anyone does wish to speak, please send a message using the message icon in the taskbar in the middle of your screen, indicating your wish to speak, and I will invite you to turn your microphone on at the appropriate point. When you are finished speaking, please remember to turn your microphone off. Following questions and a debate, in order to make a decision on the item, I will ask the Chief Executive to ask Cabinet members whether they are for, against, or they wish to abstain on the proposals. Please note that this meeting is being live streamed via the Council's website and will also be available to view by members of the public and the press who are allowed to, by law, to film, audio record, take photographs, blog or tweet at this meeting. Before we start, can I ask that all Cabinet members and scrutiny members present introduce themselves in turn. I will start with myself. I am Councillor Yvonne Davis. I am leader of the Council. Councillor Ali.
Councillor Steve Ali, Cabinet Member for Resources and Core Services.
Councillor Crompton.
Councillor Maria Crompton, Deputy Leader and Cabinet Member Responsibility for Safer Communities.
Councillor Hadley.
Councillor John Hadley, Cabinet Member for Homes.
Councillor Millard.
Councillor Danny Millard, Cabinet Member for Skills and Employment and Deputy Leader.
Councillor Shaheen.
Councillor Farah Shaheen, Cabinet Member for Living Healthy Lives.
Councillor Taylor.
Councillor Jackie Taylor, Cabinet Member for Sustainable Transport.
Councillor Underhill.
Councillor Joyce Underhill, I'm the Cabinet Member for Best Start in Life.
Thank you. Councillor Luke Giles.
Councillor Luke Giles, Scrutiny Chair.
Councillor Elaine Giles.
Councillor Elaine Giles, Chair of the Health and Older People's Scrutiny Committee.
Councillor Rollins.
I can't see Councillor Rollins.
She doesn't fit to be on
Councillor Singh.
Can't see Councillor Singh either.
Okay. So do we not think they're there? No, not Johnny. Okay, let's move on to the agenda. So I have received apologies from Councillor Paul Moore, and I would like to send him the best wishes of myself and the Cabinet and scrutiny, I'm sure, for a speedy recovery. The minutes of the meeting held on the 6th of May are presented. Could Councillor Crompton confirm they're an accurate record?
Yes, I'd like to confirm that.
Thank you. There are no additional items of business today, so we'll move on to agenda item number 4, which is members' declaration of interests.
I'd like to declare an interest on agenda item 5, and I will be leaving the meeting.
Thank you, Councillor. We are going to move on to agenda item number 5, so we will see you later, Councillor Hadley. Can I ask Councillor Crompton to present the report, please, on Brandall Golf Course potential options for future use?
Thank you, Leader. The proposal in this report is to present the outcomes to be carried out from the officers on behalf of the Built Facilities Strategy Members Steering Group. That's a mouthful, isn't it? Regarding the future of Brandhall Golf Course. This includes the golf needs, assessment and public consultation. During the course of the consultation, we contacted over 2,000 households, and through various other means, such as public meetings, emails and social media, we reached a total of 35,000, resulting in 850 responses. Of these, 70% of all the responses that we received said that they were not to be adversely affected by the proposed changes highlighted in the report. The consultation has also been to Neighbourhood Scrutiny Panel to scrutinise. They have also made a number of recommendations which have also been considered. As you can see from the extensive consultation and the scrutiny recommendations that have been considered, we have not made this decision lightly. However, we need more accessible by all green space and a new school to replace that of Causeway Green, which has been in need of replacement for a very, very long time. Along with this, we also need some additional houses. However, the green space, if this goes forward, will still be very, very large, huge, in fact, bigger than, I think it's, which is it there, Brandhall, or is it, sorry, Brunswick, one or the other, I'm sorry, I've got my B's mixed up there. So in the light of this, I would like to offer the recommendations of the report for approval. Thank you.
Okay, we don't have any questions from scrutiny.
Not on this item.
Okay. I mean, I would like to say, I think we have spent a long time making the decision. We have looked at all the options. I don't think it's possible to bring everybody to agreement. Some people will never agree that it's a right thing. But I would ask people to recognise that the amount of work that's been put in and the evidence that we've looked at does mean that we've examined all possible options. So I'd like to move to the vote, and I'll ask the Chief Executive to call on each member whether they are for, against or abstain on the recommendations. When the Chief Executive calls out your name, can you please indicate whether you are for, against or abstain? Chief Executive.
Thank you. Councillor Davis?
For.
Councillor Crompton?
For.
Councillor Ali?
For.
Councillor Millard?
For.
Councillor Shaheen?
For.
Councillor Taylor?
For.
Councillor Underhill?
For.
Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone is in favour and the report is approved. Can we ask Councillor Hadley to return to the meeting, please? And we'll have a slight pause while we put the invitation through. Yeah. Children's Centre contracts, can I ask Councillor Underhill to present the report, please?
Thank you, Leader. The recommendation to Cabinet is that we authorise the Director of Law and Governance and Monitoring Officer to agree a 12-month extension to the existing Children's Centre contracts until the 31st of March 2022. The reason being is the current contracts expire at the end of March 2021 and a re-procurement process should start now. But this is not possible as the COVID-19 situation has led to major delays in undertaking the necessary consultation with elected members and the local community about the future of children's centres, because we can actually see the demand for help increasing after the COVID-19 has hopefully finished. Thank you.
We're on mute. Okay. David.
I'll.
Hello.
Raj, busy.
Rajbir, could
Yeah.
you introduce yourself and then ask the
I
question?
can hear you now. Lost the audio, but now I can hear you now.
Introduce yourself, please, and then ask your question.
Apologies for being late. Councillor Rajbir Singh, Chair of Scrutiny for Children's Services and Education. My question is regarding the report presented. Firstly, I would like to confirm that I support this report. Considering all the alternative options, this option provides more certainty with no adverse implication on council's finances or other resources. But moving forward, the Scrutiny Board intends to scrutinise performance to ensure the highest quality and consistency of services across the borough. Some of the points which I've highlighted are: the core centres are grouped together into 3 lots to reduce administration and management costs. Their performance data should also be split across these 3 lots. We would like to see at least 4 years data to analyse the trend in performance of these centres. The budget is allocated based primarily on the numbers of children in the respective areas, and it would be helpful if we could see the budget broken down in more detail. In relation to future tendering, can reassurance be given that there will be a considerable interest in the opportunities? Overall, I'm happy with the report and would like to support it. Thank you.
Councillor Underhill, would you like to respond?
Right, I'd like to thank Councillor Singh for the points that Scrutiny have highlighted, and officers will ensure that the points will be answered at the next Children's Services and Education Scrutiny Board meeting. The board's jumped the gun a bit, really, because Scrutiny Board are going to be consulted about the future role of children's centres and what parts they will play as part of the corporate plan. So hopefully when the questions are answered and they actually look at the children's centres in detail, that it will actually help to decide the future role that children's centres play. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Underhill.
Can I reply?
If you feel so moved,
Sorry.
if you wish.
Right. Thank you very much for your reply. My concern was that because this was a contract attention. So the report should have been could have been a bit more detailed to analyze how they've performed in the last year or. So that was the reason why I raised this point. But thank you very much for considering them.
I think Councillor saying what Councillor Underhill is saying, that the performance can be examined at scrutiny, and actually scrutiny's got to be consulted about what that performance needs to be going forward. And you've kind of stole her thunder because she was hoping to present that to scrutiny. But okay.
Right.
So
thank you very much for clarification.
You're welcome. Moving to the vote, I'll ask the Chief Executive to call on members to indicate whether they are for, against, or wish to abstain on the recommendations. When the Chief Executive has called out your name, please could you say for, against, or abstain? Chief Executive.
Councillor Davis.
For.
Councillor Crumpton.
For.
Councillor Ali. For. Councillor Hadley.
For.
Councillor Millard.
For.
Councillor Shaheen.
For.
Councillor Taylor.
For.
Councillor Underhill.
For.
Thank you. Everyone is in favour and the recommendations are approved. Agenda item number 7 is Councillor Hadley's favourite soil stack replacements.
Thank you, Leader. The report seeks to award the contract to undertake the soil stack replacements to various properties to Vinci Construction Limited, UK Limited, for a contract period of 4 years to a value of £750,000 per annum. The award of this contract will allow the council to replace all soil stacks within our fitted accommodation, which was installed when the properties were built. Over the years, the decay and build-up of waste has led to a number of issues which this contract will remedy. A programme is contained in the report of those blocks currently experiencing issues. A survey of the soil stacks will be undertaken in all of their high-rise blocks and as part of this contract. Before I recommend the report to the Cabinet, the Director of Housing and Communities is going to take us through a short presentation on the contract and what is being done to grow community wealth and social value via the contract. Over to you, Alan.
Thank you, Councillor Hadley. Good afternoon, everybody. Can you see the slide deck?
Yes.
Not yet,
Yes.
Alan.
No, not
Pardon?
yet.
Not yet.
No. We can see your lovely blue shirt.
Thank you. Is it there yet?
No.
No.
Right, okay, just 1 second. Just 1 second.
Are those cushions turquoise?
No.
Press this share.
Yeah,
Share button.
Press the share button.
yeah, I'm doing just 1 second.
You're obviously not doing, Alan.
No, I'm waiting.
Oh, Alan, what's happened?
There we go.
Oh, brilliant.
No, that's not the one.
That's not the one.
No. I don't know what's happened there. I had all this. Just bear with me a second, please.
Alan, I
Right.
believe someone has taken over.
Is it
If
there
you
now?
feel like you're being controlled, it's because you are.
Okay, can you see that now?
We can indeed.
Right, okay, thank you for that. Okay, so as Councillor Hadley said, this particular programme is for SOSTAT replacement, but it's got to be seen in the context of a wider approved capital programme. And it's important that we understand the scale of the programme to look at what the potential might be for community wealth building and social value going forward. So in October 17, the Cabinet approved a 10-year capital programme of circa £500 million. And we're now sort of 3 years into that programme. And again, included in the approved programme were SOSTAT replacements to our stock. And it's a significant piece of work, as can be seen by the value of the contract. So over the period of the contract, we want to make sure that we are seeing community wealth and social value coming out of it. So next slide, please. So as I say, we procured the contract to the value of £3 million, and it will allow us to replace the effective soil stacks, but also importantly survey soil stacks now high-rise blocks to provide up-to-date stock information, which we can then use to inform our capital programme priorities. So subject to Cabinet approval, the successful contractor is Vinci Construction Limited, who have a local office in Bromsgrove, just across the border. So in terms of the next slide, please. So there is such a thing as a Public Services Social Value Act 2012, and to comply with this act, suppliers are asked to demonstrate how they would operate to deliver a positive impact on the social, economic and environmental well-being of the local area. And this could include identifying jobs and apprenticeships, supporting local schools and community need, promotion of environmental awareness, and working with local SMEs and supply chain. So tenders are scored on a 70-30 split price and quality, with 10% of that quality score being on social value. Now, that's something we need to think about in terms of that percentage and whether that's something we should increase going forward. But as things stand at the moment, we have 10% of that quality score is on social value. So going on to the next slide and what this contract will bring. So Vinci already have an established track record in Sandwell through other contracts they've undertaken. So currently there are 145 people employed on Sandwell contracts, 72 of whom have Sandwell postcodes, with the remainder being from the West Midlands. So it's about half of the staff working on schemes from Sandwell. 25 of the subcontractors that they use, 90% of whom are from the West Midlands, with 6 based in Sandwell. And they've got 3 apprentices that are employed, with 2 more to be recruited. And work experience placements are a feature and will continue to be part of this contract. So importantly, this contract will help sustain jobs for local people and local suppliers as part of the supply chain. And that is really important, that this is seen as continuing what we've got, because obviously we've got a number of people from Sandwell who are employed and, you know, getting paid good salaries for the work that they do. And it's important that we continue with that. So it is about the new, but it's also sustaining what's already there, which again is something that we need to not lose sight of. Just moving on to the next slide. There's something about what next, and really it's about looking at our procurement process to maybe ensure that community wealth and social wealth creation are given greater prominence in the tender process and the scoring of tenders. So I mentioned earlier that currently it's 10%. You might want to look at that and think a bit differently about that. I think there's something about how we engage with local contractors and suppliers to promote community wealth building and social value, and actively support them so that they can benefit from contracts that the council is tendering. And that's obviously would be an ongoing piece of work, because the more that we can support local contractors, the more they're going to be able to compete with other contractors for the various tenders that we are issuing. And then I think something that would help across the board is to produce a community wealth and social value annual report across all housing capital projects, which would then present to Cabinet. And through that, we'll be able to see the real value that we're getting from our contracts. And when I mentioned, go back to that £500 million capital programme, what does that mean for us in real terms for local people? what are they getting out of it? How are we keeping the Sandwell pound in Sandwell and making sure people are benefiting as much as they can? So with that, I'll end the presentation. If there's any questions, but otherwise back to Councillor Hadley.
Thank you, Alan. Do we have any questions? Councillor Hadley, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I welcome this report and I recommend this to the Cabinet.
Okay. And I want to congratulate you, Councillor Hadley and Alan's team, for the community wealth building focus going forward. It is going to be more and more important. And whilst we're looking at Sandwell, we absolutely have to recognise that we have a mutually beneficial relationship with our surrounding authorities. And if it is in the West Midlands, then it is something we want to support and promote. And I am urging all of the combined authority leaders to have a similar focus, that we focus on helping each other on the wider picture rather than narrowing down to a small area. So we need to be thinking about the wider West Midlands partners, not just ourselves. But thank you very much for the community wealth building focus. That's going to be more and more important. We don't have any questions. Moving to the vote, and I'm not sure I should have to say this every time because I think we're all getting a bit used to it, but I will. I'll ask the Chief Executive to call on each member to indicate whether they are for, against or abstain on the recommendations. When the Chief Executive calls out your name, please respond for, against or abstain. Chief Executive.
Thank you. Councillor Davis.
For.
Councillor Crompton.
For.
Councillor Ali. For. Councillor Hadley.
For.
Councillor Millard.
For.
Councillor Shaheen.
For.
Councillor Taylor.
For.
Councillor Underhill.
For.
Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone is in favour. The recommendations are carried. We move to agenda item number 8, which is the minutes of the Cabinet's Petition Committee. Can I ask the Cabinet to note the minutes of the Cabinet Petition Committee held on the 26th of February?
Noted.
Yeah, thank you. And finally, before I close the meeting, I would like to congratulate Councillor Singh, who in future will be an important part of the emergency committee and the scrutiny that takes place there. So I wanted to express my gratitude at his agreeing to be part of that committee. And on that note, I will close the meeting. Take care, everyone. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.